And over the last 78 years, it's become the pinnacle of secondary school boys sport. It's the trophy every school wants to win. It is the Maadi Cup. We have 8 schools who will contest the final this year. 17 schools have won it. 2 schools on the start list are looking to become the 18th. St Peter's College are one of those. St Thomas is the other. St Peter's College will start in 1. King's College will start in 2. Westlake Boys in 3. St Bede's College in 4. Christ College in 5. Sacred Heart College in 6. Hamilton Boys High School in 7. St Thomas of Canterbury in Lane 8. So much discussion and so much hype. St Peter's College, established in 1939, made their first Maadi Cup final back in 2023. Last year, they were 3rd, being pipped for silver on the line by St Bede's. They are building a program. They are one team that you cannot underestimate today. They've got a rich history when it comes to alumni having achieved great things in the sport. They row out of the West End Rowing Club. Alongside of them will be King's College, 3-time winners of the Maadi Cup, 1953, 1959 and 1960. It has been a 65-year drought for King's College. Their most famous alumni, Rob Waddell. He will be sitting, he will be wishing, he will be hoping. In Lane 3, it is Westlake, the Red Swans. So much talk about this crew. They are the North Island champions. In recent times, they've had the likes of Michael Brake, a gold medalist in the 8 in Tokyo, come out of the school. Names like Andy Hay, Barry Mabbott, Mike Stanley, Eric Verdonk. They are looking to try and win their 4th, having won in 1976, 1983 and 1984. Alongside of them, St Bede's College, who to this day still hold the fastest ever time to win a Maadi Cup, with a time of 5:42.17. They did that in 2023 in the greatest race and the tightest finish in the history of the event, when they won it by 500th of a second over Hamilton Boys High School. Can they win their 3rd? Lane 5, well, it'll be Christ College, the 13-time winners. They first won it back in 1988. The last time they won it was 2021. Sam Bosworth was a member of one of those crews. He was the first coxswain to cox women's 8 to a bronze medal at a world championship, and then was cox, of course, for the Tokyo 8 that won gold. Outside in Lane 6, it'll be Sacred Heart College, established in 1903. Legends like Dudley Story out of that school, of course. He coxed that 4 in 1968. They have won it just once. That was the 2nd ever Maadi Cup back in 1948. In Lane 7, arguably the greatest school in recent times. They are the 12-time winners. They are the defending champions. They first won this in 1970. Last year, they won it, and they won it comfortably. Can Hamilton Boys High School add their 13th to their long, illustrious list of wins? And then maybe the fairy tale story is in Lane 8. It is St Thomas of Christchurch, a small school of 664 pupils who first won a medal at the Maadi Regatta in 2006, a bronze in the under-16 8. They're looking to try and do the unthinkable, get themselves on the podium. Settle back, folks. The 78th running of the great race is moments away. This is the boys' Maadi Cup. And we do get underway, the 78th edition. Settle back, 2,000 metres, folks. 1,800 metres of hope, 200 metres of truth, and immediately getting out to a very good start at St Bede's College. They'll want to try and take it out quickly. Westlake Boys responding in Lane 3. In fact, we're going to have to come back. It's a restart, folks. What drama. It is a restart, folks. Wow, wow. We'll find out what has happened, but clearly something has happened. Let's go to you, Meg Glenn.
That was interesting. Yeah, I did see the handboys boat stop first then, before anyone else. So speculating something may have happened there, or they may have just been the first boat to hear the message. We will have to wait and see what has happened. But wow, they've all used a good start, haven't they? Do they have another one in them?
Tell you what, though, we saw a brief brief look at the intent and the battle plans of these crews. St Bede's going out hard. Westlake went with them immediate, and that's where a lot of the discussion's been, hasn't it, between Westlake and St Bede. So we'll go back and we'll do it all again. Wow, what drama. 469 races. We get to the 470th, and suddenly we've got to do it all again. I tell you what, you think it's hard for the athletes and the parents. Imagine some of the coaches.
Well, everyone on the bank down to the other end is going to have to just wait a little longer for this epic race. As we see them all backing into the blocks. They're all just going to back in. Expert rowers, of course. So they're just going to back in beautifully. It's nice, good conditions today, which makes this kind of a job a lot easier.
Yeah, it's still a skill set in itself, and so the Westlake crew there will be the last to go back in. They will sit again alongside of St Bede's there in the red. Hamilton Boys High School, the red sled up there in lane 7, and next to them, as we talked about, this wonderful school out of St Thomas who raised $35,000 in 6 weeks to get themselves here. Their student base is less than 700, and I was told by one of the parents, part of the fundraising, they sold 700 cheese rolls.
It's quite a lot of cheese rolls. I do like a cheese roll if anyone wants to sling me one up here.
Okay, we get to do it all again. So 1947 it all started. It's been going for 78 years. This is the 78th edition. Only 17 schools have ever won this race. 2 of our finalists, St Peter's College of Auckland, St Thomas, have never won it. King's College 3 times. Last time was 1960. Westlake, first ever win was 1976. They won it in 1983, they won it in 1984. 1991, St Bede's had their first win. The most famous of races in 2023 was their second victory. We talk about the brilliance of Christ College. They come in as 13-time winners. The last time they won it was 2021. Sacred Heart College, great to have them in the final. One-time winner, the second ever edition back in 1948. Hamilton Boys High School have won 12. They are the defending champion. And as mentioned, St Thomas in the outside lane, creating history, their first ever final. So we have 8 crews of 8 athletes plus the cocks. They are basically like coiled springs now waiting to explode. A 2,000 metre journey, a crowd of 15,000 waits for them at the finish line. Who will take out the great race in 2025? All the talk has been around Westlake and St Bede's. Can the likes of Christ's, Hamilton, Sacred Heart, St Peter's, King's College change the narrative? So set for that restart. White flag is up. Settle back, enjoy this one. The great race is moments away. Hamilton Boys High School, they know what winning feels like. They know the legacy that goes with wearing those famous red and black colours. Do they believe? Do they believe? You can hear the starters in the background asking the boys all ready for a start. Been tough having to restart, a lot of nervous energy. Westlake boys having won Peers yesterday, having won the Springbok Shield as well last night. Can they win the triple? We do get underway, and that is a really good start by King's College down there in lane 2. They got away quickly outside of them. Westlake boys again, and immediately following them at St Bede's College. Across the far side, Hamilton Boys High School 2 there in lane 7, deciding to take it out quickly. But it's Westlake boys. They want to get out. They are so desperately keen to try and win this race. There's been so much talk around Westlake, but sometimes with talk and hype comes pressure. We are dealing with young minds. We are dealing with young men. But through the first 100 metres, It's Westlake boys narrowly over St Bede's, and on their inside, the might of King's College out of Auckland.
Oh, what a nice fast start we're having here. Westlake really squeezing out there as St Bede's just go with them. They're not letting them get another inch as Kings push out as well.
Well, here we go. Well, it was back in 1976 that Westlake first won their Maadi Cup. They won it in 83 and 84. It's been 41 years since they have won it. Can they do it? But we look back here in 4 and it's St Bede's College. Now, there's a wonderful story here. When St Bede's College won the Maadi Cup for the first time back in 1991, they ran Westlake boys down. They won it by 0.9 of a second. Their second victory came 2 years ago when they beat Hamilton Boys High School by 1/500th of a second. So St Bede's, when they win, they do it tough, but they do it well. And it's St Bede's who comes through the first 250 narrowly over Westlake boys, who are starting to just try and separate themselves from the rest of this Maadi Cup field.
They certainly are, and Bedes is stretched out there, Westlake in second, but Christ and Sacred Heart are really trying to say, hey, don't get away from us. If we want to be in it at the end, we got to be up there at the start. So we're seeing the black bow there of Christ pushing up into third, and Sacred Heart Auckland is really going with them, and Hamilton boys, they're certainly not going to be left in anyone's dust, but it is St Bede's with a third of a boat length over Westlake in the Maadi Cup.
Yeah, well, here we go, St Bede's. Everybody said they're the South Island champions. Everyone was talking up Westlake Boys High School, but as we come through that next marker, it is still St Bede's. They've got about a third of a boat length lead, and now it's up to Westlake. They're going to have to respond here. They're going to have a lift. These are not boats that you can just switch up speed on a dime. It takes time to build up that momentum. I like St Bede's here. They sort of remind me of what we've just seen in the Levin Jubilee Cup from St Margaret's, going out, being aggressive, forcing Westlake maybe to change their game plan.
And St Bede's is really pushing away there. They're certainly making it hard on Westlake. Westlake did have a faster time in the heats, but the heats don't matter once you're in the final. Once you're in the final, it's anyone's game. St Bede's just stretching out. Westlake going with them, pushing away from the rest of the field. Great battle happening for bronze, though, between Christ, Sacred Heart and Hamilton Boys.
Well, it is Westlake now. It's going to fall on the shoulders here of the coxswain, and that is Flynn Wigglesworth. He's going to need to control the emotions, but it is still St Bede's half a boat length lead. Westlake are not going away anywhere. Both schools have such a rich history and tradition. You go back through the history of St Bede's, you go back to David Lindstrom, who represented New Zealand at the Olympics in 72, 76. Mark Brownlee in 1964 and 68. Ross Lindstrom, who won bronze at the 1978 when the World Championships were held here on the river in the 8. These young men looking to try and add to that legacy, looking to try and join that famous crew that won in 2023, that won in 1991.
As we start to see Westlake here really make a move at North Islands, it was Westlake who had a very strong third 500 and started the last 500. They really pushed in, and we're starting to see that as they pull back on St Bede's. Now only a canvas behind them. Westlake winding it up. We're actually sitting on the 500, and I can hear the coxswains, the rumble of the race. It's coming towards us.
Well, here we go. Settle back, folks. This is a street fight. This is two teams of gladiators. Who wants this the most? It's Westlake who trail St Bede's. St Bede's continue to apply the pressure. Westlake have got their bow high. You go back to the likes of the Barry Mabbits. Mike Stanley raced this race back in 1975. They finished second that day. You go back to the original crew of Westlake of Bryn Crossley, Steve Roberts, Greg Roberts, Malcolm McIntyre, John McIntyre, the great Eric Verdonk, Win Bartard, Greg Ball and Mark Alderson. That is the legacy that they have left. They won it then in 83 and 84, but it's still St Bede's. Here come the Red Swans. The Red Swans begin to lift. The Red Swans are beginning to fly, folks.
We're moving into the final 500 metres here. We're about 450 metres from the finish line. And Westlake, the momentum is with Westlake. They started lifting before that 1500 and they're still lifting now. Every single stroke, another inch. Westlake, momentum is with them.
Well, Joe Shotter has been in control of this program for 8 years. We've had Andy Hay, the coxswain at the 83-84 World Championships, who's done a brilliant job. And then last year we had the likes of Jordan Stanley join it. They've got the coaching staff doing Do they have the belief? Which one of these crews runs out of talent first? Oh, the brutality of it all. It's Westlake. Westlake looking to try and win 4, and 15,000 stand, 15,000 rise. The Red Swans are lifting. It's been 41 years. It's half a boat length now. What a performance. Westlake boys taking it to St. Bede's. Westlake trying to win 4. Stand back, settle back, enjoy all of this one. One of the great Maadi Cups, the 78th edition. Will it be the Red Swans from Auckland's North Shore? Will they win their 4th? The 41-year drought is over. Stand up, Westlake boys. This is your 4th. This is the one you've been waiting for. Congratulations to Andy Hay. Congratulations to Jordan Stanley, Joe Shotter. You are Maadi Cup champions in 2025. You've won the war. It is Westlake boys who do it. Oh, they've got it over St. Bede's. What a performance. What a race. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Oh, that was exceptional, and that was exactly what we saw Westlake do at North Islands. They sit there, they let you think you've got it, and then at 500 to go, they really show you what they're actually capable of, what they were holding back, and that is how they clinch it.
Well, I tell you what, the 91, when St. Bede's won it, they ran a really good Westlake 8 down. They won it by 0.9 of a second. Who would think that 34 years later, these two crews would go at it again, but this time the roles are reversed. What is going through the minds of that school? A 41-year drought. They now put their names up against the likes of the Bryn Cosleys, the McIntyre boys, Malcolm and John, the great Eric Verdonk. And the Red Swans, folks, wow, wow, wow. So much talk, so much hype around this crew, but you've got to live up to the hype. And again, congratulations to Andy Hay, who's just been so selfless over the last 3 years. The likes of Jordan Stanley and, of course, Joe Shotter, who's been overriding this program for the last 8 years.
Absolutely. Westlake there. Remember the names: Langley, Bird, Pivac, Buckley, Lease, Oliver Porter, Gartner, Cleghorn and Wigglesworth. Those are names to remember for the future.